So for our lovely Mr. Z, we were going to warm up with just some simple tasks. We're maybe going to start off a little bit with a find it and then go from there into some name recognition. So I know he already got back to me before I could. So if there's moments where, again, I've mentioned your puppy reorients back to you before you get the chance to tell them, again, the name or the cue. So nice. You can still again, reinforce for this lovely reorientation back to you. So we might go again, find it, and then go Zeus. Yes, what a good boy. So again, if Mr. Z is sometimes getting a little exuberant, make sure that when he's taking those snacks, he's not by accident also grabbing your fingers. If sometimes your puppy is really exuberant, I would recommend feed flat palm like livestock. So that way, as you're practicing and your puppy's still working on that gentle or easy behavior, they can be getting snacks without including, he's like, or you'd like a foot, without including your fingers in the process. So with those lovely piranha-like teeth, we want to make sure, yes, that if we are feeding, that he's not grabbing fingertips at the same time. So I sometimes like to work a gentle or easy behavior. So in the beginning, if let's say your puppy, he says, let's do some zoomies. So let's say your puppy gets a little bit wild mid-practice. He's like, the poop bags look amazing. I like to go right into a little find it. So maybe I'll hide my little poop bags because they seem very intriguing today. There we go. And then that way they're out of range. So remember that a lot of training or puppyhood or even adult dog training is going to consist of sometimes managing what your puppy can or can't do. So if let's say your babe is going and grabbing for something in the household, like slippers or shoes, your best bet is to puppy-proof the environment first. And then as they're learning different behaviors or different skill sets, to then implement the behavior you'd rather. So if let's say your babe has no idea what a leave it means, we don't want to go ahead and throw out different items that would be considered exciting for him, but off limits for us. And in those situations, if you're constantly just saying leave it to something, but it's already in their mouth or you're chasing them around the room, your puppy's going to start thinking that leave it's equal a lot of fun engagement with you, and potentially that leave it means ignore you while you're squealing and then go ahead and play with that item anyway. So, but as Mr. Handsome's getting much more fluid with some of these lovely little find its and bouncing back to me, if you are working on a gentle or easy, what I sometimes like to do is take food that's not quite as exciting. So if you're working with really high value snacks or something your puppy goes bananas for, I'd make sure that, again, you're practicing sometimes with lower, not quality, but lower in the end of excitement zone. So if let's say this was a very exciting type of training treat, then I would recommend to use your kibble, or maybe if they like carrots or green beans, and practice when it's not quite as arousing and exciting. But I like to put the food in my hand, close my fist, put my thumb inside my fist, and then offer my soft part of my hand here. If he nuzzles or licks or nudges with his nose, I would go yes and feed him for that. So that way he's working on being gentle, and then gentleness is what gets him the paycheck. So again, we're going to go again, easy or gentle, yes, and then feed for that response. So he did a lovely job just kind of licking my hand, which is splendid. So again, I'm going to go again, easy, yes, and then we feed for that. So again, just so we can see it, he's like, oh, got exhausted already, all that running. So again, nice and gentle or easy, and then yes to feed. He says, lady, I lost it. So if let's say your puppy is getting much softer with their mouth, wonderful. If your puppy is still a little bit of an alligator, I would recommend that they're not working while overtired or overstimulated. If the puppy's mouth is kind of disconnecting from the rest of their body or their brain, I find what tends to be happening is you have an overtired or an overexcited puppy, or sometimes both. And it's not the greatest moment for learning, but it's also not the greatest moment for your body. So sometimes if your puppy tends to be eating you alive, that normally means they're lacking in sleep. So I know we've mentioned it before in class, where that's beautiful, nice job, yes, where puppies need, again, between 18 to 20 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. So if your puppy is not getting enough of that really important rest time, your babe may be becoming, again, overtired and therefore even more mouthy than they would be had there been rest. So very nice. So he's just giving me some really nice behavior. Two, I did notice, Mom, that you did pack him a harness, but it is a step-in harness. So again, doesn't mean you couldn't rock it and use it, but remember, step-in harnesses do typically affect the movement of the shoulder blade. So right now he's actually just borrowing one of my harnesses. So he had something to wear in and out of the building to go to the restroom. And so that way when we're practicing, he can wear a harness versus his collar. So a Y-shaped harness is going to allow for full mobility of your shoulder blade in the pup, which then also doesn't restrict the way they're moving as they're growing and developing. Because I always tell people, imagine if you were wearing 2 different size shoes and you had to go for a big walk or a hike, you're going to start to compensate, but then your back and other issues will probably start to arise. So I would highly recommend a Y-shaped harness. So that way, and there's all different brands out there, but it allows the puppies full mobility to still be completely functional while wearing gear that takes the pressure off of his trachea. So what I would like to try for Mr. Handsome, he's doing a really nice job, is work a little bit with that on-off switch with a little bit of play. So obviously you see that I did warm him up with some find its in the beginning with a little bit of name recognition. But you'll also notice that I'm feeding him for behavior I would love to help him think has value. So all of these lovely little downs or hanging out in front of me, I'm going to capture these moments and feed for them. So I'm going to grab the flirt pole. So again, if your babe is new to the flirt pole, I'm not saying everybody has to go out and bust out a flirt pole, but I do find them immensely beneficial for working that on-off switch. So since he is a little guy, we'd want to keep the flirt pole especially low to the ground, so we're not having him jostling his body or leaping high up into the air and getting into trouble there. So if again in the beginning, he's getting already excited for the toy, it's nice and fluffy, it is a sheepskin attachment, we want him to be able to grab and play with it, and then we might start having him practice letting go and going for the toy again. So a lot of times with babies, they do enjoy playing these dog-centric skill kind of games because again, it gives them an outlet that is very normal to them, but also alleviates some of this mouthing or teething and chasing and biting and tugging on items we don't want him to enjoy. So again, let's say he's mid-play. Yes, nice job. I'm going to feed him for letting go and disengaging, even if I don't even take the toy out of range. I want him to think that letting go doesn't always equal my toy gets taken from me or we have to start all over again and chase the item. Obviously, if he's getting more comfortable doing some lovely take it and drop it behaviors, you can start to put those on cue. So we might go, Zeus, yes, and feed for that lovely name recognition. So sometimes remember, just like your ABCs before you can read, you might start off with simpler tasks to learn the bare bones. And then from there, yes, work those bigger, big boy, big girl skills. So right now for Mr. Z, we're just going right into a little find it to get him to relinquish the toy. He's like, lady, I'm ready. Then I might go, are you ready? He's like, ma'am, I was born ready. And then go get it. And now the toy is alive and we chase the toy. So you'll see that I'm not making him run too far or for too long. And it's not going up high and it's not very extreme with curves and twists and jumping. Because obviously being a gangly little baby, we want to make sure that those joints and ligaments are not being strained. Leash wedgie. So even if, let's say, for example, he goes and runs and he's a little awkward, you can always move around with him. He's, of course, going to hog tie himself really well. So let's say your puppy gets a little bit tangled. You can go and help him, do a little find it, disentangle from the toy or get untangled, and then try again. Nice job, sir. So we might be working with him, trying to gain a little bit of this on-off, get the excitement, and then go from excitement back to check-ins or from letting go of the toy. So ready? So we might get the toy up and wiggling. He's like, greatest day of his life. So the benefit of, again, flirt poles is it gives your puppy these very natural doggy-centric skills to work on that also give them a great way to expend some extra energy or get some exercise. Remember that, again, I know we've mentioned that since he is little, we don't want to do this to the extreme. And even if he was an adult dog, I wouldn't go crazy with it because you could cause some soreness or some damage if you're going a little bananas with the toy. Ready? Find it. Nice. So as he goes and does a little find it, we might go, you ready? And the toy comes alive again. Oh my gosh, such a big boy. Greatest day of his life. And then we'll let him catch that lovely boy. Nice job. What a good boy. So obviously when you're practicing with your babe, this might be a few minutes at a time. You'll want to gauge it based off of your puppy's comfort range, age group, and abilities. So if one day you're having a day where he is a wild man and just all over the place, maybe it wouldn't be the greatest day to rev the engine and see if he can come back down. If you're finding though he's starting off a bit soft, which is a great place, then you could go from being a little soft to then going and getting the excitement and then coming back from that. Nice job, sir. But if your babe is already on the cusp of kind of going off the deep end with overtiredness and overmouthiness and arousal, I wouldn't add more fuel to the fire and then wonder why is my puppy going from mouthing this to mouthing your pants or jumping up on you instead. Nice job, sir. So right here, beautiful little settle, even with the toy. So we're sometimes just capturing moments in behavior or skill sets that we're really enjoying. Nice job, sir. So we'll do another little find it. And then we'll say, you ready? Go get it. So I do sometimes like to put a word that means we're about to play. So with my guys, I normally would ask, are you ready? And then I would say, go get it. You can, again, do whatever slogans make sense to you. But I would make sure that you do have a starter and sort of sometimes an all done behavior or cue. So like with my guys, we might go finished when we're all done playing. So that way they kind of know, okay, we're going to take a little break and be all set with the skill. Nice job checking in, sir. So every once in a while, I do end up doing a little bit with that positive interrupter as well, getting his little check-ins from his name or his little kissy noise. So that way I can get him to practice going from something of excitement back to focusing on me or reorienting to another skill set. So again, we have him run, run, run just a little bit, let him catch his toy. He's like, oh my gosh, speed wobble. And we let him grab it. I know I've mentioned this prior too, is make sure that wherever you're practicing has good traction. You don't want to ever do this on a slippery surface or if it's icy or, crunchy outside with frozen stuff. You want to be a bit cautious there. You want to have really good traction so your puppy doesn't by accident slip or slide or hurt themselves. So if you're ever doing a flirt pull in the home, or any sort of tugging or playing, make sure it's on an environment where you have a carpet or you have something the dog can walk comfortably on without feeling like they're walking on ice. So nice job, sir. So I'll give Mr. Z a little breather from this one. And then what I'd like to do is work a little bit with some more of our loose leash walking and do a few other little skills as well. But he did a really nice job with the play and kind of getting excited and coming back from that. So good job, Mr. Z. Nice job. He's like, where are you going, crazy lady?